think you kind of just answered my comment or question.
Oh, okay, Laura. Would you like to say it again for the recording?
Yeah, I was just saying that the U.S. right now has a lot going on top of COVID, and
yes.
it's very intense and overwhelming, and there's many of us who are very active in
yes,
supporting the movement, and
yes.
also receiving a lot of hate.
Yes, yes.
And I see that people all over the world are supporting us in that. So
fabulous. Yeah. Down here in Tasmania, we've got a rally coming up on the weekend, a physical distancing rally, if that's possible. Many states around Australia. I spoke with a client last night in the UK. There's several people signed up from the UK today. They'll get the recording. So there's massive amounts of support. But what I want to do first, because we're feeling all of this, so you know that when we're tapping, and if there's anybody here that I can't see who is not familiar with tapping, just unmute yourself and let me know, okay, so I can go through it. But I think at the moment, everyone who's here is fairly familiar with FasterEFT style tapping. So, you know, when we're tapping, we go to the peaceful place, we go to a happy place, okay? So the first thing I'd like everyone to do is to close your eyes, and I'd like you to go to your happy place, your peaceful place, and just either real or imagined. And what I'd like you to do in your happy place, in your peaceful place, I want you to see what you see and hear what you hear. Notice the sounds. Notice the smells. Notice the feeling that you're feeling and where that is in your body. Look around you, notice all the colors and the images, expressions on people's faces if anyone's there, and just all the ways that this is a peaceful, happy place for you. Seeing it, hearing it, feeling it, the smells, the tastes. And I want you to notice how good that feels inside of you. And make it bigger and make it stronger. That wonderful feeling right there. And what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to send it out to all the people out in the world who are suffering, who are hurting, who are getting the hate, like as Laura mentioned. The stress, the worries, the concerns. I want you to send it out to them and notice them receiving it and how good that feels for everyone, because we're all connected. We're all connected here on the planet. And now take a deep breath in and blow it out and say peace. Yes. Good job. Good job. Now, I don't know whether everyone else feels the same as I do, but I follow the Heart Math Research Institute. They're in the US, and you can look them up. They do some really fabulous work. And what they tell us from all their research is that we're all connected. You know, we are all connected. And I know you've all had experiences where you've been thinking of somebody on the other side of the planet, you know, and they ring you up or they send you a message. You know, these things happen all the time. And so as human beings, you know, as we feel this love and this compassion, and we can send that out, that's something that we can do. You know, there's really very little that we can do. Yes, we can go out and join a rally peacefully, and we can, you know, talk amongst ourselves and support each other, but there's really very little else we can do. But we can take emotional control. You know, we can take emotional control. And that's what I love about this process. It's really been the most amazing process for me to take control of my emotions. You know, every day things are going to come up for us. You know, there's difficulties and challenges every day. And we really want to be in emotional control of that and take responsibility for it, and you know, keep ourselves calm, peaceful, happy, joyful, whatever it is that you want. It's not like we don't care about what's happening out there. We absolutely do care, but we know that there's very little that we can do to make a difference. This way I can make a difference. If I can help more people be at peace inside of them and have less of that hatred, Laura, then that's the job for me, you know, if I can do that. So what I'm going to do is, again, just mute and unmute yourself. Yeah, that's great. So being with other people, that's right, and you're all feeling that compassion. It definitely does, yeah. So what I'm going to do is just ask you all to think about what's on your mind, what you're struggling with, what's being hard for you, what's difficult as we're moving forward, or with what's happening at the moment out there in the world. Whatever it is, just unmute yourself and let me know, because that's the best way that I can help you. Okay? Anyone? Laura?
You wanted me to just check in if anybody puts a question in the chat?
Yeah, and just
let me. How do you want me to notify you? Do you want me just to raise my hand, or?
Yes, yep, that'll be good.
Okay.
Okay, and ask your questions as well.
Okay.
So, anyone?
I need to find a way to be at peace and not riled up all day long.
Yeah.
Basically.
What would help you to do that, Laura? What do you think would help you to do that? Is it like it's on your mind all the time, you're thinking about it, or is it you're being triggered every time you listen to something, or you
triggered like a lot of anger and hurt and sadness for other people, and feeling, I mean, going to protests actually gives me peace because it feels like I'm doing something productive.
Doing something.
But obviously I'm not, it's not all the time, it's not every day, and I work and I'm home.
What usually triggers you? Is it hearing it on the news? Is it talking to a friend who's talking about it? Or
it's hearing, reading. I do a lot of reading. I don't really like to watch the news because it's pretty awful the way they work. So the things I read, I guess like little things I've seen about how people are being treated when they're protesting, about our own leaders and how that's being handled. It seems like every 10 minutes, it's like, did you hear, did you see this, that, look at this, oh my God. And then for that to happen during COVID and after that, and it's still COVID not gone in the US.
It's massive, isn't it?
It's a lot. And everybody's hurting that I know and care about.
Yes. And I believe, because these things have happened before, right? We see this happening all the time. It happens here in Australia, and it's happening all around the world all the time. Now, what made this different, do you think? What made this event different? Why have people now all around the world suddenly, are wanting to be heard, wanting to have their say, wanting to do something about this?
I think people have a lot more time to reflect right now.
That's
because
right.
Not everyone's working. People have been at home. People have already been in a heightened state of concern. People have been frustrated with their government.
That's right.
Governments. And And now, yeah, everybody has a lot of time to be with themselves and be.
That's right. Yes.
That's just my thought on it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I agree. So we've had a lot more time to reflect and think about these things, because that's what I was thinking the other day. I was like, this is really interesting. What's happening? You know, why now? And also, I think what's contributing is that, you know, we've all been locked up in our homes. You know, we've been staying safe in our homes. And that's been incredibly stressful and hard on people. And so there's all this pent up anger and frustration that it's just taken this one thing and everyone's just gone, you know. And, you know, the thing is, stuff like that is going to happen in the world all the time. You know, not as severe as this, but there's always going to be events that are coming up in your life. And that's why I want to talk about these thinking systems, okay? So what happens is, why is it that some people, you know, have taken what's happened, this event, and it's really, really affected them? You know, they're crying about it. They can't watch the television. They don't want to hear anything about it. They can't sleep. And it's really affected them to a very large degree. Whereas other people, you know, they'll hear it, they'll listen it, they feel the compassion, they feel the compare, but the empathy, but it doesn't really affect them to that degree, okay? And what's happening there is our thinking systems, all right? We all have different thinking systems. And our thinking system, little one, hello, come to join Mum. So our thinking systems, and again, I want you to just unmute yourself and ask any questions, because this kind of stuff isn't often discussed, you know, or talked about. I've been learning about this for a very, very long time. You know, I follow a teacher, his name is Prem Rawat, if anyone is interested in listening to him. His platform is called Words of Peace, and he speaks to millions of people all around the world about peace. And his message is that peace is inside of you. And if we want peace in the world, every single human being on the planet needs to have peace and love in their heart. Otherwise, we're not going to have world peace. And so that's his message. He goes out there and he says, but where peace is inside of you. So I started learning from him about how powerful this mind is, you know, how powerful the way that we think can impact our lives. I started learning that 30, 40 years ago. And then since I've been, you know, I've learned from many, many other mentors about how the mind works and how it operates. And, you know, it's the mind that causes the suffering out in the world. It's the mind that creates that hate that's happening out in the world. It's the mind that creates the racism, right? And the fear. And so the more you can learn about that, you know, the more empowered you'll be of your own life, of your own thought processes, okay? So where this starts, again, is always from your environment. When you were born, in the environment that you lived in, is what's going to create your thinking system, okay? So for example, if you're living in a household and you've got a warrior in that household, guess what you're going to learn? Guess what your thinking system is going to be? Constantly worrying. And you'll get really good at it. And Robert Smith, the creator of FasterEFT, he talks about this a lot. You know, he says you become an expert at what you practice. So if you're practicing worrying all the time, you're going to get really good at worrying, okay? So if you're a worrier, figure out how you're doing that. Notice how you're doing it. And every time you become aware of it, you do some tapping. Okay, so you notice it, you tap very quickly, just let it go. Otherwise, I worry. Okay, and if the more you do that, because what happened is very early in life, your brain got wired for worrying. You have a very strong neural pathway for worrying. And you want to rewire that. Remember neuroplasticity, the brain can change. So if your brain is wired for worry, you can rewire that. Don't think that you're stuck with that for the rest of your life. You probably can't change your mother's worrying or your father's worrying, but you can change yours so that you don't pass it on anymore, okay? So worrying is just one thinking system. Mine was, several of them, it was fear of being alone because, I had been spent so much of my life alone, or this is the story that I used to tell myself, okay? No mother from the age of 2. Didn't know my father until I was 7. All my siblings, I didn't know I had any siblings. And then my father was gone by the time I was 15 and I was an orphan and I was on my own. So my mind, nobody wants me and I'm alone. And so this is the thinking that I used to have going on in my head. Nobody wants me, and that I'm this sad, abandoned human being. And that wasn't very helpful. It wasn't really very helpful. So there's lots of styles of thinking. Some people are very angry. They're very angry all the time, and that's their style of thinking. So whatever's put in front of them, their reaction will be out of anger because they're thinking these angry thoughts all the time. And again, they would have learned it from someone in their family. Okay. So is there anyone out there who'd like to just ask any questions or make any comments about these thinking styles? There's, depressive, people who are very depressed thinkers. They're always thinking sad, depressive thoughts. There's catastrophizing, people who everything is traumatic. Everything is huge. Everything is massive. It's just, to one person, it'll be, something quite minor, but to the person who has the catastrophic thinking, it will be massive in their mind. Okay. So anyone have any comments about that? Do you recognize your own thinking style? Anyone recognize their own? Ryan, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I have a big problem with worrying about the future, about things that I can't control in the present and in the future. And it just takes over everything. Yes.
It's not a nice way to live, is it? To be constantly, worried about the future, thinking about the future. Can you remember when you first noticed that you were doing that?
Oh my gosh.
Have you had events in your life that would give you that fear of the future, fear of unknown, where you're going, what you're doing?
Probably as a kid, we constantly moved around every few years. Something negative would happen and our lives would completely change from what it was before. So it probably started developing at that point.
Very, very good. So you recognize that, this is where it started. Again, it's your environment. Okay, always your environment that you're living in that will create the fears, that will create this. Because remember, biologically, our brains are geared up for the fight, flight, freeze response. We're always going to go into one or the other, and this fear of the future is, you're constantly in that fight, flight response. And eventually that's going to have a massive impact on your health. Because as we know, every time you're in that fight, flight response, and we do it with our thoughts, we can go into the fight, flight response just by thought alone. Okay, we know that. And so this thinking, getting to know what your thinking style is, your thinking system is for yourself is really important, because you don't want your nervous system to be constantly in fight, flight response or freeze response, because every time you do that, your body's being flooded with these toxic chemicals, okay? And it's going to impact your hormones. It's going to impact your gut. It's going to impact your nervous system, your immune system. You'll develop all kinds of illnesses if you don't address that thinking style that you have going on, okay? Really, really important. The more I've been doing this work and noticing everybody's thinking styles, the more I see how important it is, you know, and how important it's been for me. So, you know, I made that decision when I started to do this work, when I had no pain, you know, after 17 years of living with chronic pain and all the other issues that I had. I just made a decision to myself. I made a contract with myself. Okay, I know what's going on now. I finally know what's going on. It's all up here. It's happening in my brain. It's happening in the thoughts that I'm having. And so I decided to just give myself zero tolerance to any negative thinking. And because I've been meditating for a long time, that was a little bit easier for me, because I've already become very aware of what this chatter that's going on in here. And if any of you are not doing any meditation, I would encourage you to do something. You know, I like the really silent meditations. Some people like the talking meditations. I like silent ones where I'm just very still, very quiet, and I go inside of myself and I just become aware. And you'll become super aware. I've got a little mindfulness meditation that I send out to clients. If you want that, I'm happy to send that to you. It's very short. You know, you can be sitting down with a cup of tea, just close your eyes and you can go into that, you know, before you go to sleep. When you wake up, it's very, very simple and easy. But what it does is you become really aware of what you're thinking, how you're thinking, and it will be personal to each one of you how you think. So what I would encourage you to do, right, is if you're aware of that, when did this style of thinking start? Ask yourself those questions. When did it start? When did I notice that I'm constantly fearful of the future? Because it paralyzes you, doesn't it? It absolutely paralyzes you. So become aware of it, and also ask yourself, everyone, ask yourself the question, who else does this? Who else thinks like this and behave? Because you'll see it in their behavior. You'll hear it in their words, what they say to you, okay? So notice that, and then make a little list of the memories that are linked to that. You know, all those times that you moved, all the times you're unsure, where am I going? Where am I going to be sleeping tonight? You know, which school am I going to? Will they like me? There's so much fear in that, you know, and as most of you know, when you're working with me, usually after you've done your first session, I don't like to send out a piece list in my first session unless someone asks me or they need it. But I send out a piece list, and your piece list is prompts to help you to find memories, you know, that are linked to your problem. And it's a really great thing to do. And if anyone hasn't got one and they'd like one, please let me know. Okay, it's very, very helpful. Gemma, yep, excellent. So that will help you to find those memories of, how did I get this thinking style? You know, and I really don't want, and then decide, I really don't want that anymore. You know, zero tolerance, become super aware of it every time you notice yourself doing it. And then you tap, and you tap and you tap and you tap until it feels better. And it may take time, because remember, you've had this thinking style, you've developed this thinking style since you were very young. So you've practiced it, and you've become a master at it. You've become very, very good at it, okay? So with everything that's going on, everybody's been handling it differently. Everyone that I know, some people, yes, have gone into fear of the future. What's going to happen once we start going back out into the community? Are people going to stay distant from me? Are they going to be wearing masks? Everyone, will that frighten me? Should I be wearing a mask? Am I still going to have my job? Am I still going to have my home? There's all these fears that are surfacing. So I want to address some of that today, because some of us, our thinking styles will lead us into panic, or lead us into depression. As we know, there's been so many suicides, since this has been happening. The rates of suicide have been massive. So people haven't got, I know our government here have tried so hard to give extra mental health support. They've pumped a lot of money. Our country could go broke after this, right? There's a lot of fear that Australia is going to go into recession, because we have put so much money into JobKeeper, JobSeeker, the mental health, all these support systems that they've put up for us to prop us up while we go through this. But lots of people have slipped through, lots and lots of people, because they don't know about tools like this. They don't know about, self-empowering tools like this that you can use to manage those emotions and to get really good at knowing what your thinking style is. I was suicidal when I was sick. I had suicidal thoughts every day, when I was at the worst of my illness. I was in so much pain. I wasn't sleeping. I was just walking around like a zombie, and I used to look like I was 101 with my little walking stick hobbling around. And I was 40 years old. I was 40 years old when I first got sick, and I used to feel like I was 100. It was horrible. It wasn't life. It wasn't living. And so I had these suicidal thoughts all the time, just anything to please stop this pain. And I know that thinking style. You just repeat it over and over and over in your head. I just used to say to myself, I just can't do this anymore. I can't live in this pain anymore. I've tried everything. I'm taking the maximum, medications. I just can't live like this anymore. And because all my doctors were telling me I was going to have it for the rest of my life, well, who wants to live like that for the rest of their life? Locked up in their homes, never been able to go anywhere, do anything. I'm getting really emotional now just thinking about it, And the only thing that used to keep me going were thinking about my two small children. I am a child of suicide. My mother committed suicide, so I know the pain that has caused my family. All my siblings have suffered immensely because my mother couldn't bear her emotional pain anymore, and she took her own life. I never knew her. I never got to know her. And, it's heartbreaking that there's people out there that, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful every day that I wasn't successful. I had one attempt and, it was disastrous. And thank God, I survived, because I wouldn't be here now doing what I'm doing, getting to do this amazing work, supporting and helping people. Okay. So I can see some of you there have been triggered. So I think we need to do some tapping now. How does everyone feel? Yeah? Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to just choose something not too big, okay? But just notice what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and what it's linked to. You know, what was rising up as I was talking to you about thinking systems, about suicide rates, about what's happening out there in the world, the racism, you know, the hatred. Just notice what you were thinking about, what was bothering you, okay? And what I want you to do now is close your eyes. Everyone just close your eyes. And I want you to just notice your breath. Notice the rise and fall of your breath as it's coming in and out. Notice the seat underneath you, supporting you. Notice your feet on the floor, grounding you. Just breathing in and out. Notice your hands relaxing all the way to the fingertips. Notice your shoulders are relaxing. Your jaw's relaxing. All the muscles in your face relaxing as you're just gently being breathed. And now what I want you to do is go to your problem. Go to what's bothering you, what you want to resolve today, what you've been thinking about. And what I want you to do is see what you see, hear what you hear, feel what you feel. Notice the smells, notice the tastes. Look around you and notice the colors in the images. If there's other people in this problem, in this issue, I want you to look at the expression on their faces. If anyone's speaking, listen to the tone of their voices. And just notice the part that bothers you the most. Notice what bothers you the most, but I don't want you to go any higher than a 7, okay? And now what I want you to do is go to the part that bothers you the most, give it a rating. 0 is the least, 10 is the highest, but today we're only going to do 7, right? And now what I want you to do is see it for the very last time. Now imagine in front of you a sandcastle on the beach and the waves come in. What's going to happen to that sandcastle? It's going to get washed away and it's taking your problem with it. Just notice that. Out it goes. And now what I want you to do is open your eyes and look at me. And I'm just going to unmute a couple of you so other people can hear you tapping along. Just unmute yourself if you want to. And so what I want you to do is lift your eyes back, your eyeballs to the back of your head, look up, and now look down. Look to the right. Notice anything on the wall. Look to the left. Notice anything on the wall. And now look at me and just watch my finger. Just follow my fingers round and then the other way. And now feeling your fingertips, starting at the eyebrow point, and just notice how many fingers you're tapping with. And I want you to change it now to just tapping with one. Just tap with one finger. That's it. And now 2. And now just go back to whatever you're comfortable with. Okay? And I just want you to repeat everything I say. I am now eliminating all of my sadnesses, all my fears, and all the emotional trauma Now the side of the eye. I'm now eliminating all my angers, resentment, all the guilt, the blame, the shame, everything I'm hearing, everything I'm seeing, everything I'm reading, all that hatred, the racism, the concerns, the fear of the future. Just let it go. Under the eye, releasing and letting go. All the judgments, the criticisms, all the times that I felt abandoned, betrayed, and alone. I'm letting this go now. On the collarbone, releasing and letting go. All the feelings of hopelessness, feelings of helplessness, the feelings of no control, the rejection, and everything else connected to this problem that I'm letting go of today. And as I let it all go, I notice a sense of calm, a sense of peace. It's such a relief to be in emotional control and just let it all go. Take a deep breath in and blow it out and say peace. And go to your peaceful place. Feel what you feel. See what you see. Hear what you hear. All the smells, the tastes, the colours and the images. Notice where you feel that in your body. And make it bigger. Make it stronger. Notice it's spinning in one way or the other. It's getting bigger and bigger. And you can feel it in every cell of your body. This wonderful feeling. And what I want you to do is I want you to send it to this problem. Send it to yourself in that problem, whether it's recent, whether it's in the past. Send it to you and send it to your problem. And notice it changing. Notice it's repairing. And now take a deep breath in and blow it out and say peace, peace, peace. Good job, good job. Now we're going to go back. So did anyone have any questions about the looking up, the looking around? Everyone okay with that? You know why we do that? Yep. And when you're tapping on yourself, how important it is to do that. So this is the first defrack, all right? So when you go to your problem, that's aiming, you're aiming at it. So you notice, and remember we're talking about thinking styles. So if you notice, so Raya, for example, if you notice, here I go, worrying about the future, concerned about the unknown, what's going to happen. You go into that thinking pattern, you notice that, right? That's the aiming part. You notice it. Then you're going to take your attention away from it. And you take your attention away by looking up, looking around. And that's called defrack, okay? And there's lots of different ways you can do that, but that's a really simple, easy way of doing it. And then you feel your fingertips. Make sure you really feel it. Because if you stay in the trance, we call that the trance that you go into, like we're all human beings, our brains are designed for going into hypnotic trance, right? It's there to keep us alive. It's there to keep us safe. And if you stay in the trance, your problem won't change. So it's really important to break that trance by using the defrack, right? The second defrack is feeling your fingertips and tapping, okay? The third defrack is going to your peaceful place. And that's also called the good-bad collapse. Bad-good collapse, sorry. You're going to the bad, and then you're going to the good, and that collapses that problem very quickly in your brain. Okay, anyone got any questions about that? Right?
I have another question. One of my biggest hurdles with this is my 2 small children are with me all day long, and I found it very hard to go to my peaceful place. So, for example, I start having a reaction to food, and I start tapping, and then someone's screaming because they don't like the food I made, and I'm like, I'm on the beach, and I'm just like, I can't. I don't know. How do I do that?
Okay, I understand that. I understand that. I work with lots of young mums and dads, who are looking after their children. They are, how do I tap, when their kids are around? And it's a really good question, right? So what you want to do, there's several things you can do while they're doing what they're doing and saying what they're saying. And you notice inside of yourself, you're reacting, right? And what tapping does is it brings you into the calm state very quickly. It reduces your cortisol level. The research has shown it's the fastest way to reduce your cortisol levels, okay? I've got this, if anyone's interested, the science of tapping, all the research is there. It's the fastest way to bring you back into calm. So there's several things you can do. One is you can just go like this on your, everyone see my chest there? You just rub there as you're putting food in their mouth. Whatever's going on here, you're just going like this. Because it's what you're thinking about is what's important, all right? So inside your mind, you're probably saying, okay, this is going on, or you're probably not saying that, but whatever you're saying, but your intention. So with this tapping, one of the most important parts about it is your intention. Okay, I feel like this, I don't want to feel like that. Remember my 0 tolerance to anything that I'm thinking that's not helpful, anything that I'm feeling that's not helpful, any memories that are surfacing that are not helpful. Whatever I'm noticing that's making me feel bad, I don't want that. So I take personal responsibility and control, and I do what I have to do, and if it means just doing this, but make your intention really clear. Okay, what could you be saying to yourself as that's happening, Raya?
It's so hard. It'll be something like I hear them yelling, Mom, they're fighting with me again. And I'm just, I don't know what to say to myself in that moment because I'm needed immediately.
What do you want? What do you want to feel?
Calm and patient and
that's it. Present, just to be present. And that's what tapping will do for you. It'll bring you back into the present because your brain's going like, what am I going to do about this? It's happening again. Oh my God, they're shouting and screaming. It's happening again. I can't do anything about it.
I feel sick.
Yes, yep. So all of that comes in. And so you just make that intention really clear. I just want to be present for my children. I just want to be here for them and for me. I want to be present for me. I want to be present for them. And that means being calm, right? It's coming from a calm, relaxed place. So you make that intention really clear, and then you just listen to them. And I always say to parents with their children, tap in front of them. Don't be scared to tap because they're seeing you being emotionally intelligent. They're seeing you taking control instead of like what I used to do, hide it from them. Oh, Mummy's okay. Bawling my eyes out, right? What message am I telling them? I'm crying, but I'm okay. I'm giving them mixed messages that's confusing for them and training them to do the same. I don't want to do that anymore, So it's about taking emotional control, showing your children that you're taking emotional control. Just say to them, Mummy's feeling really whatever at the moment, so this helps me to be calmer so I can listen to you, so I can be present for you so that I'm more relaxed and feeling better. Okay? How does that feel for you?
That makes sense. Yeah.
Think you can do that? So all mums that are out there. Laura, you got...
I just wanted to add something.
Yes.
Is it Raya? Ria?
Mm-hmm.
Raya, how old are your kids?
4 and 8.
Okay. So old enough that they, so I'm just thinking about, well, I work with kids and parents, but also for myself, I have food stuff too. My kid is grown, but your kids, I think at least, especially your 8-year-old, would be old enough that you could actually use them as a defrack. So I was picturing, like, if you're having a food reaction and they're like complaining about the food, if you could turn whatever's going on into a game. One time I was having a food reaction, and my son he was much older, but your 8-year-old could do this. I was having a food reaction, and I just said, I need to play the grapefruit game with you. It's a counting game.
Yes.
And every number that has a 3, and you might do a simpler game because your kids are younger, but every number that had a 3, we had to say grapefruit. So we'd be like 1, 2, 3, or if it was a division, multiple of 3. And I said, I need you to play this game with me. Play it with me. And so he did. And we were driving when I was having this reaction, and I couldn't tap or do it. It was harder to tap. But because I was able to defrack with that game, my reaction came way down. I still was having some stuff, but like, wonderful. I thought I was going to pull off the highway.
Yes.
And, so I'm just picturing like a game. There's a game that you can do where you say an animal. So say you said dog.
The barnyard.
An animal that starts with G, the last letter. And so you could play that back and forth. It would distract them from their, like, them being,
because they're actually in a trance as well. They go in trances as well.
And you could even be tapping while you were,
That's right. That's right.
But it would distract them from their tantrum or their complaining.
That's right.
But it would distract you too, in a good way, as opposed to being upset. Just a thought.
That makes sense. So the thought process is, you're having a physical reaction and you're not thinking about it and dwelling on it anymore.
That's
is that what you're saying?
You're not in the trance of it. You're breaking the trance of it. And the kids can help. You're breaking their trance, you're breaking your trance. There's lots of things you can do with kids. And, I'd encourage all of you at some stage. Your FasterEFT FasterEFT is going to be launching their emotional ed program very soon, at the end of this month, actually. And and I'm part of that team, the international team. So the first part of it will be to help teachers, to get teachers doing the course, learning how to tap on themselves to regulate their own emotions and stress in the classroom and at home. And then secondly, they'll learn how to tap with their classroom. They won't be doing one-on-one with the students. They'll be referred on to practitioners and who will be trained in working with children, specifically with children. We want to really make a difference out in the world. We want to try and stop what's going on now, and it's going to start with the children, teaching them emotional coping tools at a very young age. So after that will be the parents. There'll be a parents course. So keep your eye out for that, because you'll learn those things that Laura's talking about. Lots of different techniques that you can help your children to defrack. Just the simple the barnyard technique. Oh, Susan, how does a pig sound? How does a kangaroo sound? And that just pulls them out of their trances very quickly. And there's a whole heap of different techniques that you can use for children. You can just hold their wrist like this. Some people call it the ninja tap. You just hold their wrist and it's okay. You're safe now. Everything's all right. Whatever calming comforting words that you can say to them. I really love the butterfly hug technique, which is, you know, like this. You can do it for yourselves, but your children, it's really good for them as well. Let's just all stop for a minute and give ourselves a big hug. And what you do is you just run your hands up and down like this. Now, I know that every one of us at some stage when we were children, our parents were doing this to us, right? Holding us and rubbing. And you do that until you calm down. It works very quickly. This technique is been shown to first responders. It's been taught to people who work on the front line to calm people down, because it's been researched and shown that it calms you down very quickly. So when you go into the worrying, the fear, scared, just do this and sit there and keep doing that until you completely calm down. Okay? So lots of things we can do with children.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
That's all so helpful.
Okay, good. And persevere. Persevere with this. Look, Laura's doing that. She's just pushing through, persevering, persistent, tapping, learning, you know, all the practitioners, you know, that are starting out, you know, we're working on ourselves, learning about ourselves and helping other people, educating other people. Okay, so anyone else that I can't see on the screen that has any questions? Nothing in the chat, Laura?
Nope.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go back now and check that problem that you were working on. All right, so just close your eyes. And I want you to go back and check that problem and just see what's left. You'll notice it's already changing, that it's already different. Give it a SUDS rating again, what you think it is. See what you see, hear what you hear, feel what you feel. Notice the smells, the tastes, the colors, the images, any tone of the voice, expressions on faces. And just give it a rating. And now open your eyes and tapping again with me. If someone would like to unmute and call out with me, anyone, right? Yeah, okay to do that? Thank you. And just now tapping on the eyebrow point, just let this go.
Just let this go.
I'm just letting it go now.
I'm just letting it go now.
I'm safe now.
I'm safe now.
Everything works out.
Everything works
This
out.
This problem no longer bothers me.
No longer bothers me.
What was left for you, Raya?
I was feeling the dizziness feelings of when I was sitting and eating with my kids. And
okay, so that dizzy feeling right there, that dizzy feeling. What that means to me, that dizzy feeling. Everything it represents, that dizzy feeling. All the times I've felt it before, that dizzy feeling.
All the times I felt it before, the dizzy feeling.
Just let it go.
Just let it go.
The images.
The images.
The colors.
The colors.
The children.
The children.
They're fighting.
They're fighting.
Their disagreements.
The disagreements.
And let's all do a big laugh now. You ready? Their disagreements, my disagreements.
My disagreements.
Just let it go.
Just let it go.
On the collarbone. I'm taking charge now.
I'm taking charge now.
I'm taking control now.
I'm taking control now.
I'm learning how to make these changes inside of me.
I'm learning how to make these changes inside of me.
To do things differently.
To do things differently.
To be emotionally in control.
To be emotionally in control.
And now, what would you rather have, Rai? Everyone, think about what you'd rather have instead of this problem. What would you rather have? You mentioned before, peace, calm, present.
Just calm, present, not even thinking about it, just sitting there and it not even being a thing. We're just eating dinner together, and
so
whatever
that means to me, it's not a thing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's just what it is. It happens in every household at dinner time with children. Don't let that scare you off having children, guys, okay? It's okay.
I love them. They're
You'll
the best.
get through it. You'll get through it. It's okay. They bring you so much joy, don't they?
The greatest love, yes.
The greatest love. So much love and so much joy that they bring you. That makes up for all those little fights, doesn't it? Yeah?
Yeah.
That's okay. I'm okay now. I'm a great mom.
I'm a great mom.
Doing the best that I can.
Doing the best that I can.
Healing myself.
Healing myself.
And healing my children.
And healing my children.
Being a great mom.
Being a great mom.
Take a deep breath in. Blow it out. Peace.
Peace.
Drop into that peaceful place. Good. Now, Rai, when you were saying before about, when that's happening with the children and you can't find your peaceful place, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. As long as you're doing some kind of defrack, right? Just start singing at the top of your voice, right? That's a good defrack. You don't have to go to your peaceful place. That's just one type of defrack, right? There's lots and lots of different defracks. Singing is a great one. Laughing, just start laughing at the top of your voice when your kids are fighting. And they'll just stop and look at you, right? But it's a defrack. Put some music on, right? Do the chicken dance. Start walking around the kitchen doing the chicken dance. Da 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 da. My grandchildren love that one. Can we do the chicken dance, Nanny?
So cute.
So I can send you guys out a list of defracks that you can use. So don't be too concerned that you've got to do this whole tapping. Remember, tapping is just one defrack. Okay, there's lots and lots of different ways. How's everyone going? I'm hoping that everyone's down to 0 now. Yes, I can see some heads nodding. Is anyone out there that I can't see that still has a fairly high? Anyone? Gemma, can I ask how you're going? Can you just speak to me?
Yeah, sure. I can.
How are you going, Gemma?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks. It's really comforting just to listen to you as well.
Oh, thank you.
Peaceful voice, so it's lovely, enjoyable just to hear while I tap along as well.
Thank you. And the problem that you were working on, were you able to reduce that?
Yeah.
Because now, is it okay for me? You had quite a lot of emotion there before. Did you figure out what was triggering that, and were you able to release that?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'll keep working on it. But yeah, this has definitely helped.
And everybody, please keep doing that. If you're left with something when we finish here, you keep defracking, okay? So what I've been teaching my clients is you aim at the problem, you do 1 round of the tapping like we just did then. The second round, go back and just do a round of laughter. Laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh, okay? The third round, go back and sing yourself a song. Happy birthday to me, happy birthday to me, and do a round of that, all right? Because what we're doing is we're collapsing. Our aim is to collapse that neural pathway, is to flatten it out. And that's the bad, good collapse you've got to keep doing, all right? The third one, the next one is use numbers, like Laura was saying, counting from 0. Every time you get to 3, Laura, grapefruit or pineapple, mango, whatever you want to say, right? If you use numbers, you're using a different part of your brain to collapse that problem. So I like to use all those different ways. If you're tapping on something and it's not changing, you're getting really frustrated, walk away. Just leave it, because it just means you're still in the trance. Your defrag needs to be bigger than your trance. Got that? So make sure it's bigger than the trance that you're in. If the trance is really big and you're not collapsing it, it's not coming down, just walk away. Leave it, come back to it later. All right, and that will be enough to change it. So is there anything I can help you with, Gemma, that will help you to resolve this quicker?
No, I think I just need to keep defracking, keep noticing it and defracking. And
is it a memory? You're working on a specific memory?
Well, I think it's probably linked to some memories, but
yeah, go ahead.
No, I think it's probably one of those cases where you can't quite pinpoint where it did start.
Is it a feeling? It's more a sense of a feeling.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, because that's a memory as well, right? So your body has a memory map, and it will just remember the feeling, not so much the image of it, or even what was said. Okay, we also have false memories, which is what others have told us about it, right? So, excuse me for a minute. So, often I'll get clients, they say to me, I know something bad happened, but I don't remember it. Now, usually what happens is the brain's gone into freeze because it wasn't able to process whatever happened at the time. So it goes into what Robert calls the numb and dumb, okay, goes into freeze. But your body will still have the memory of it. So if it's a feeling in your body, just tap on that, all right? And sometimes the memory will surface. Sometimes the memory will appear, or somebody else might, tell you about it. Now, one way of doing that, if it's something that you're not really sure of, but it's just a sensational feeling in your body, you can ask yourself a couple of questions. You can ask yourself, if this feeling inside of me was a person, who would it be? And take the first thing that comes into your mind, the first thing. If this sensation, if this feeling had a message for me, what would that be? And you write that down, okay? And then you might find some more things to tap on, okay?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, you'll get a lot from just asking those questions.
Really interesting. Okay, I'll try that.
Yeah. Now, another thing when you're tapping is if there's anyone still there who's still got any of their problem, if there was a person in that problem with you, look at them and look at the expression on their face, okay? If you see the expression on their face, say you look at them, they still look mean. You tap on that mean look. Just let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go. As Robert says, that person's not inside your head. They won't fit in there. That you have the image of them that's been imprinted that your brain's taken imprint of. So you still have to tap out that expression, right? Go back and check it, that expression, notice if it's changed or not, and tap again. Okay, so what was that, Laura?
There's a question. Are you supposed to change their expression from mean to happy, laughing, etc.?
Yes, you want to keep tapping on the expression on their face until they're smiling. Okay, so defrag. Look at the expression on their face. If they're words, if they're saying something to you in this memory or this problem, listen to the tone of their voice and tap on the tone of their voice, right? That tone of their voice, that tone of their voice. Really significant to do that. And another good thing to do if some people are very auditory. It's, I've got one client, she doesn't have many images, but it's all auditory, what others said to her. So with that person, what I do is I get her to listen to the person's voice, what they said. It was something that was said to them when they were 5 years old, but here they are, they're 55 and they still hear it in their head, right? And so what you can do is use the barnyard technique, right? So what they said, and then oink, oink, cock-a-doodle-doo, oink, oink, to anything that's auditory, okay? What else? So another thing you can do is say the other person in your memory, they've done something really bad to you, and you just can't understand it. You can't make sense of why they did what they did. Once you've done a few rounds of tapping and you've tapped it down, right? You want to feel reasonably okay with it. Then you can use this technique where you see yourself just stepping into their shoes. Because remember, they're not inside of you, it's all you. But you see yourself just stepping into their shoes and you'll get some real insight. You'll get amazing insight. Suddenly you'll have more compassion for that person because inside of you think, oh, golly, they didn't really mean to shout at me. They were just having a really stressful day. They didn't mean to do that. They're hurting, they're in pain. So it's a really, really good technique. I love that technique. You notice instant compassion. And who are you really feeling that compassion for? Is yourself, right? You're making peace with yourself. Your relationship with that person will improve as well. But what you're really doing is having peace and compassion and love for yourself. Okay? So any questions about tapping, the different ways to tap, the thinking?
I have a question, Lolita.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question. This is something that's happened to me often when I'm tapping, like I'm tapping down, and it could be in a session, it could be by myself, but I feel like I'm feeling calmer.
Yes.
My suds reading is coming down, and then I go to my happy place, and all of a sudden, I'm anxious. Even though there's nothing bad that's happened in my anxious place, all of a sudden I get this. For me, it's in my chest.
Yes.
And it's a feeling of dread.
Yes.
And it happens often. And I don't understand where that's coming from because I can feel everything's coming down, and then all of a sudden.
Yes, your brain's going into the fight-flight response for some reason.
Yeah.
Have you had lots of experiences where you've been on holiday, you're having a good time, you're having lots of fun, from early childhood onwards, where you may have been having a good time and happy, but then something bad's happened?
No, I've had a lot of, I would say a lot of times where as an adult, because of health issues, where there's been a lot of, like, if I had anything planned, like a trip, I spend months worrying about, what if I get sick before I go away?
So you're the worry thinker. What if
I get a migraine? What if this happens? What if this happens? I was supposed to go to Greece for level 2, and by January, I was already like, what if I'm not feeling good in May? I didn't get to go anyway, but so there's a lot
are you getting better at recognizing this thinking style that you have?
I am.
I don't know how you're doing it. Yeah. And again, like I was saying, we've become experts at it. It's going to take a while to rewire your brain to stop doing that.
So I did notice
it's not helpful.
When you had us going into whatever's bothering us right now.
Yeah.
This one I noticed, and you said to stop at a 7, but I was at a 10 pretty quick.
They never listen to me. But I know you're a tapper, so you can, you're okay with that.
Then you had us go to our happy place. You had us tap.
Yep.
And go to the happy place. And I was picturing my happy place.
Yes.
And I felt that anxious feeling.
Yes.
And I almost think it was like, I got this sense of I'm not supposed to feel
good.
How can I how can I be daydreaming about Bermuda with everything going on in the world? Like that's
yes.
feeling
So thought pops into your head. You're trying to focus on your happy place, and a thought will. Robert calls this, how to. He uses different language, but I'll use how to stuff up a good memory, right? And again, this is a program. And it's a learned program that it's not safe for me to be happy. It's not safe for me to be well. It's not safe for me to feel good, because at any time that's going to stop. At any moment that's going to end. Something bad's going to happen, right? And so you develop that thinking style, Laura. That's again a thinking style that your brain has developed. So Rye, you can relate to that, yeah?
So if we're in that, if I'm in that, and it's happening, and I don't usually notice a thought, but this time I did, that it was like, maybe I'll never ever get to enjoy anything like that again. That's where my brain went.
Yeah.
So if I'm already in the happy memory, we just have to get tapped down.
Mm-hmm.
Would I just come right out of that happy memory and do tapping again, or try to do a different Defrack?
There's two things you can do, because remember, it's all about what you focus on, what you get more of, right? Thoughts, we have 80,000 thoughts a day. Thoughts are coming in and out and in and out and in and out all the time. But what thought that you focus on the most is what you're going to see more of and feel more of. And because, Laura, of what's going on with you right now, your thoughts are in that stuff, right? You're going to the rallies, you're reading about it, you're listening, you're talking to other people. So all your brain is flooded with all those thoughts. So because you've been focusing on those thoughts so much, you try and feel good, you try and feel happy, and your brain is just going to take you to that stuff, right? So there's two things you can do. One is, stop and tap. Notice the thought, notice the sensation in your body, and tap through that, and then go back to your peaceful place. The other thing you can do that some people do is stay focused on your happy place. Recognize that, that's just a thought, let it go back to your happy place, and stay in there. So, because then you're training your brain also that I'm not going to listen to you. You're just a thought. You come and go. The ones that bother you the most are the ones that you focus on. So you're training your brain to, I'm not going to listen to that. I'm not going to listen to you right now. I want to feel good. So two ways you can do it. Does that make sense, everyone? Yeah. So when you're having this difficult conversation with somebody, whether it's happened now recently or whether it's happened in the past, you can do this inside your mind and you can make peace with it, okay? And that's the most important thing that we're doing here. We cannot fix other people. We can't control what's happening out there in the world. We can't control this. Racism has been with us since the beginning of time, right? People were killing each other in the caves, right? We've always had racism. And it's always going to happen as long as people do not have peace in their hearts. That's the goal here. Everyone can make peace with their past, make peace with yourself, make peace with those demons inside your head, and that make peace with that thinking system, get really, really good at understanding what your thinking system is, because that's where your power resides. I can tell you, I'm nearly 65 years old. It took me 30 years to learn that. And I've really, since I've been doing FasterEFT, it's been fast-tracked big time, because now I have a tool to actually do it. Since I was a very, very little girl, I'll let you in on a secret. When I was young, my father was a lawyer. So remember, I didn't meet my father until I was 7. And then he died by the time I was 15. So in those 7-8 years, he was a lawyer. And I noticed on his bookshelf, he had these books called the Encyclopedia of Murder. I was fascinated by those books. I don't know why, but I would start reading them. I must have only been 9 or 10, but I was reading these Encyclopedia of Murder books. And in my mind, I was like, what makes people do this? These are human beings. What is happening inside of their mind? I didn't know that at the time. I know that now. But I was absolutely fascinated why people were committing these murders. And then I was also really interested in why my neighbour was so sad all the time. I'd go and visit him. He was a war veteran. So again, I didn't know at the time. I just knew that he was sad a lot of the time. There was another businessman that used to come to our house. And, again, I must have only been 9 or 10, but I would notice his wife would be sitting in the car waiting for him. And eventually I said to my dad, why did she have to sit out there in the car? Can't she come inside and have a cup of tea with us? And eventually she did that. But later on, what I found out, and I made friends with her when she stayed, and she came in, had a cup of tea. I asked my dad, could I go and visit with her after school some days? And he asked her, and she said, yes, that's fine. So I'd go and have a cup of tea with her on my way home from school. Our house was in between my home and the school. And I would notice this deep sadness that she had. And I was curious. I didn't ask her, but I wanted to know what made people sad like this. And eventually, my dad told me that she was having lots of miscarriages. They didn't have any children, and she was having miscarriage after miscarriage. And she couldn't be left in her home on her own because she would try and kill herself. And that's why she was sitting in the car. He told me that later on because I was worried about her. I'd ask him, what's wrong with her? And so all through my life, I've been really curious about this. And what I've discovered now is it's about the mind. It's what's happening inside of ourselves, our brain. And what we're talking about today is this thinking style that we develop, So if you're a warrior, Laura, keep tapping on that. Notice how you're doing that, okay, into the future. And how I want to finish off today is to teach you how to future pace in a good way, not in a scary way. How would you like to do that? Yeah? Wouldn't that be cool? And especially now as we're coming out of this COVID-19, this pandemic, I want you to create a really wonderful future for yourself. I want you to create a really good life for yourself. And the brain is really amazing. The brain has the capacity to imagine, if you look around you, I'm looking at your lovely home, Raya, there in the picture. That's not a backdrop, is it? No. But everything that's in your home, once upon a time, it was in someone's imagination, right? That chair, the fireplace, your light, your curtains, everything was once upon a time just someone's imagination. They dreamt that, they thought about that, and now we have it. So you look at your life, everything that you have in your life your car, right? Your home, your job, everything was once upon a time someone's imagination. So our imagination is the most smartest part of us. And the brain will believe whatever it is that you imagine. And if you practice that enough and you keep visualizing it and you keep feeling it, what it is that you want, eventually your brain will give it to you. Okay? So it's like, I want a new car at the moment. My car's falling apart. I'm one of these people who will use something until it's absolutely not usable anymore. I come from that generation, right? And so this car just keeps going, but one day it's not going to. So I want another car, and another kind of car I want, because I'm a gardener. I've got a huge garden, and I'm always picking up horse poo and straw and seaweed and all this stuff and putting it in my car, right? So I need a wagon, or I need a lift back. And so I'm already starting to imagine this car that I want to get. And I'm driving along, oh, that one would be really good, you know. And I know that I'm going to get the car that I want. I even know the color I want it, what brand it's going to be, and how much it's going to cost and everything, right? And I know that's going to happen because the home that I live in, I have got a beautiful, beautiful home. It's idyllic. It's got a beautiful view of the ocean, and I've got a big garden. I grow everything myself. I'm vegetarian, so I love vegetables. I grow everything. I've got fruit trees everywhere. And this place, that came from my imagination, because my husband and I, we used to drive past where the land was at the time. We'd drive past there quite a lot. And every time I'd look out the window and I'd say to my husband, golly, that would be a beautiful place to build a home. It would have just an awesome view. It's facing north to the sun. And we would just talk about it. You know, we'd go, yeah, that would be so good. And because we've both come out of disastrous marriages, you know, mine was of abuse. His was of rejection and loss and hurt. You know, he was left with a one-year-old child. And we both had, you know, been through a lot. And then we've come together. I've got my two children. He has his child. And we're trying to build this family, and we want to give them a home. And so this desire in me to have a home where I can raise these children, give them a good life and give us a good life, and to grow my vegetables and my fruit trees, you know, that was a priority. And so we're doing this all the time, and I'm thinking about it all the time. And then one day we're driving down and I look out the window and I saw this big white placard, and it was facing down on the ground. And I said to my husband, stop the car. He said, what? I said, I think that's a for sale sign. He said, oh, you're mad. But I got out of the car and I went over and I picked it up. It was face down on the ground, right? I picked it up, and guess what was on it? For sale, right? I quickly put it back down and I covered it over. I didn't want anybody else to see it. And I said to him, I went back to the car and I said to him, you won't believe it. It's for sale. That block of land is for sale. He said, we've got to do something about it. And both of us have come out of marriages with no money, you know, very, very little money. But we made that happen. We bought that land, right? And we did it from our imagination, what our heart desired, what we truly wanted, and our intention was pure. You know, our intention to have that land was of a loving nature. And now we have it. You know, we built our house. We've lived here 37 years, and I love it. You know, I love living here. So this is what you can do with your mind, right? You can do it. So that's what I want to do with you right now, all right? So I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to imagine for yourself what it is that you truly want. What is it that you want in your life? And I want you to see it. Make a really big image of it. Add color to it. Anything that makes it feel really real and alive. Hear what you hear. Hear what it is that you need to hear about it. Is it laughter? Is it joy? Is it praise? Is it whatever it is? Put it in there. And feel that feeling. Feel that feeling. Notice where you feel that. And make it bigger. Make it stronger and stronger. Really step into it. This is what I want. Seeing it, feeling it, hearing it. The smells. Those wonderful smells in my garden, the fruit, I could smell it all in my brain before I created it. The food that we were going to prepare and share together as a family. The taste. How good that fruit was going to taste. Those vegetables straight from the garden, how good they were going. I could taste that. You know, so just imagine all of that. What it is that you want in your life. And I want you to bring it alive. Really step into it. Want it badly. Want it for you. And now, as you take this good feeling inside of you, I want you to notice how good it makes you feel. And as you travel forward now in your life, notice how much better you feel in the days and the weeks and the months ahead of you as you allow yourself to feel better, happier, more joyous, and more at peace than you've ever been, knowing that as you take emotional control, that everything works out. And if you meet an opportunity to heal yourself, you're going to do some of this tapping. And as you do, the people in your life, your family, your friends, in fact, your whole world just gets better and better and better, simply because you've made the decision now to take charge, to take control, to forgive yourself, and to make peace with yourself. And take a deep breath in and blow it out and say peace, peace, peace. Good job, good job. When you're ready, just open your eyes. Now, would anyone like to share with us what you imagined? Pilar, can you? Anyone? I could see, I asked you because I could just see this big smile on your face and I could tell that you were there.
It was really nice, actually. I actually saw myself running a race, very strong.
Wow, wow. So is that a metaphor for your life that you're going to have, or actually physically running in a race?
I think it was just that freedom, that strength, and then it just, like, when you sit imagining, like, people, is there like can you hear sound? Can you? And it's just like race, and then people just all celebrating, and me kind of embracing a group of friends.
Yes.
And just.
How wonderful! How wonderful! And did it feel really real to you?
Yeah,
I was feel really good. And did you have the images too? You could see them?
Right. I was seeing it, and then me on, like a workout, sort of like clothing, and and with just muscle.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. So
running,
now, great.
which right now it's not something that I am doing. My legs are just, I'm just so like unstable.
Yeah, good on you. Wow, how amazing is the brain? Now,
I
the
know.
most important part about this, guys, now you've all got what you imagined, right? Now the key is to keep practicing that, right? That's what I did before I got this land and this house. I just kept imagining it, kept seeing it, kept visualizing it, kept feeling it, you know, why I wanted it. Get back in touch with your intention. Why do I want this? You know, like for me now, manifesting this car. Why do I want the car? I'll get really in touch with that. And I know that I'll have that car, you know, because your brain can do that. It'll give you whatever it is that you want. Now, the most important part, like we talked a little bit about with Laura, the most important part about future pacing, and a lot of people forget this, there's a lot of people out there teaching about visualization, manifesting, right? But they forget the most important part. That is, look for any resistance. Look for the resistance. If you find resistance, so say for example, Pilar, you're starting to imagine that and feeling that, but a little voice pops in your head going, you can't do that. You're never going to have that, right? You stop and you defrack the heck out of that, right? You do a round of laughing, do a round of talking like a robot, talking in Chinese, whatever you need to defrack that resistance, because it's not true, right? So when I was imagining the land and the house, we didn't have any money in the bank. Golly, we had nothing, you know, and I was looking after the 3 children in the daytime, working at night. My husband had a job that wasn't paying very much at all, you know. How, and every now and then a little voice would pop into my head, how on earth are you going to be able to afford to buy that land? The first step was to just keep telling myself that was mine. That land is mine. I'm having it. And the next step was, let's go and talk to the real estate agent who didn't know that his sign was lying flat on the ground and wondering why he wasn't selling it. It was waiting for us, right? So we went to see him and we said to him, do you think that the owners would reduce the price for us, please? He said, oh, go and talk to them. Guess what? They reduced the price, you know, and we came up with that money. We sold a car, we had garage sales, we borrowed, we begged, we got the money and we bought that land. And then the 5 of us lived in a little caravan while we built the house, you know, in this tiny little caravan, 5 people. How did we do that? And there was lots of times resistance would come up, and I didn't know about this stuff back then, but I was determined that that was going to be my home for my life. I intend for them to take me out in a box from here, you know. So persevere, keep visualizing, tap on the resistance. Laura, whenever that happens, you tap on it. Right? Tap on the sensations in your body as well. Really important, because that's a memory. Anytime you have a sensation in your body is a memory. So ask yourself that question. If this was a person, who would it be? If this had a message for me, what would it be? And then tap on it. And if you keep doing it, one day that won't happen anymore. Okay? The resistance will just go. But you've got to dedicate yourself, you've got to commit yourself, and you've got to do this. All right?
Question really quick, Lalita, because
Yes.
I came in late. I just,
You'll get the recording, okay? Watch it again. Yep.
that's good, because you did say if there's resistance, you just do tapping.
Notice what the resistance is. Is it a
And then
voice? Is it an image? Is it a feeling? Is it a memory? What is it? Notice it. Take your attention away from it and tap.
Okay.
Tap,
And you
tap.
just do let it go, or you just say
let it go. And so for everyone, you can either tap on one side, you can tap on the other side, you can tap with two hands. I've got some clients that love doing what they call bitch tapping, right? They're really angry about something and they're tapping like this. Bitch tapping, that's called.
and it says it is let it go because you also mentioned to start laughing, or do you also laugh while you're
do the first round just tapping, go to your peaceful place. So either side, you can also just massage, okay? You can also just go like that. You can also, like I was saying to Rai, you can just tap there. You can just hold your wrist. You can just tap on a finger, right? So many different ways, because the tapping part's not important. It's what your intention is that you want to change. What is it that I want to change? And then using a defrack to do it. So the second round, Pilar, you go back and check it. The second round, you can do some laughter or speaking like a robot or singing a song, counting backwards, counting in twos, whatever, right?
Okay.
The idea is to just keep defracking and collapsing that problem. Because, guys, the problem is not real. It feels like it's real, but it's not real. It's over, okay? It's just the trance that we're in. So break the trance, tap. When you get to the collarbone, I like to put in the positive when I get to the collarbone. And you can use your own words here. You know, I'm so angry with that person. I'm so sad at the moment. You can use those words, but when you get to the collarbone, because we want to do the bad, good collapse really well, I want you to say what you'd rather have, what you rather want, what you rather feel. Say something positive. And you can never say, I'm safe enough for the nervous system to hear that. I'm safe now. I'm okay now. It's over now. I'm here. I'm healing this part of me. Lots of positives. And then deep breath in, blow it out, peace. Okay, this is the way that I like to tap to get results really quickly and fast. Okay, so Robert is all about, at the moment, tapping quickly, doing a round quickly, and defrack, 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 defrack. Okay. Cool, wonderful. Thank you all so much for being here. So next week I'm going to do the evening call, so hopefully the UK people can and the Europeans can hop on. But I just want to thank you all for your support. Some of you guys have been with me right from the beginning, and lots of people are, you know, watching the recordings. Please go to my YouTube channel and subscribe. For those who want to work with me, I do the 2-hour intensive sessions, which most of you have done with me, and I hope you've benefited from that. You can also, I have quite a few clients who have got a lot of very, you know, fatigue type conditions. I offer them 1-hour sessions. Sometimes I forget. But you have to remind me, those people. So I offer 1-hour sessions as well for those people, or time constraint people, okay? We can do a lot in an hour, but we can do even more in 2 hours. I also offer my 30-minute turbo sessions. I know Laura's done one of those. So 30 minutes, we can knock down something really quickly where you might feel like, oh, golly, I'm just stuck in this. I can't shift it myself. I need some help. 30 minutes for $30, I do those for. When you're in crisis, when you're stuck, you need some help to pull yourself out of it. And then I'm going to be doing my courses. Okay, I've really got to get off my butt and get those courses online. And lots of them following. I'm really excited. I'm going to offer lots and lots of courses. And part of the course we'll be doing this. You know, we'll be doing some one-on-ones, we'll be doing some workshops like this, and then there'll be things that you'll do in your own time. You know, you'll be reading things and watching things and learning about what is my thinking system. So I hope that's helped. I hope it's helped for you. Anyone who refers clients to me, please do that, because I'm really not very good at social media marketing. I'm not good at that stuff. And so, yeah, Gemma, my website, Laura, could you type that in for me? Yep. www.stressfreefast. Not stress-free fart, guys. .com.au. I was giving my email address, which is Lolita@stressfreefart, to someone a little while ago. They said, "Oh, is that stress-free fart?" I said, "I can offer you that as well." It made me laugh and it made her laugh. It was a good defrag. So have a look at my website and please tell your loved ones, you know, especially the guys, please let the guys know. And the guys really love, we all know, right? We all know it's hard for them to come and do this stuff, do this work on themselves. Not all of them, but a lot of them. What I want you to tell them is that the thing that holds guys back is they don't want to talk about their stuff, right? They don't want to talk about their stuff. The good thing about this technique is that they don't need to tell me their stuff. I don't want to know it. They don't have to tell me, but I can still help them to change it. Okay? So share away and keep in touch. Keep your eyes out on your emails and my Facebook pages I've got going. And would you believe I'm even on Instagram? Wow, I never thought I'd do that.
You're so hip.
Only because I had to. Senior solopreneur on Instagram. I thought Instagram was just for those beautiful girls who just look gorgeous and they had the pout and the hair and, you know, they just looked amazing. I thought, I'm not one of them. I can't do that. But I realized that it's not.
I actually find Instagram way less stressful than Facebook.
Okay. Laura, upper model of the world. Facebook doesn't stress me, right?
Well,
social, for me, social media doesn't. I just say to myself, you know, I'm staying upper model of the world. And if you guys want to know more about upper model of the world, watch one of my earlier videos, one of the first videos that I did, and also watch Robert's video. He's the master. He's the genius. Go onto his website, okay, FasterEFT.com, do the 5-day videos. He's got courses going as well. Jump on and do those. The training, Laura, is fabulous, isn't it?
Yes.
I love doing the training. I've just done level 4. It's taken me a while. Laura's level 2. I've been very slow, but I've been working. You know, I've been helping a lot of people, doing a lot of stuff, and learned a lot. And I feel like I'm a really great practitioner. You know, I love what I do. Thank you, Ryan. I love what I do, and I'm able to help a lot of people. And that, you know, I'm back to that little girl, you know, looking at why my neighbour was so sad. Now I could help him now, you know, and my dad's business partner's wife, I could help her now, you know. So it's done a full circle for me. I'm fulfilling my life's purpose, you know, and it's a wonderful, wonderful feeling to be able to do that. So thank you all so much for being here. Step into that future for yourself and just remember, anything is possible, okay? If I can find my miracle, you can find yours. Nothing's impossible. Love you all. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.